Hello and welcome. You join us at the Hungarian ring for Division 3 pre-season event. I am ISRL and I bring you a race of 10 drivers today. We have some old faces and some new faces, and some very good drivers from last season in people like ISRL F1 Richie, ISRL Chris and ISRL Agent with super consistency. One of the Mercedes heads out first. That will be KTM Sweden, the first one out of the garage this weekend at the Hungarian ring. He's going out on softs, so I believe everyone will run softs today, as there's only 10 drivers and they will all start on the tyres they qualify on today. As there is no one else out, so a little bit reluctant from the other 9 drivers to leave the pit lane at this point. So, while the track is quiet, I'm going to get a few details up for today. And we're going to put the best time on there so we can see who's done the best time on what tyre. There's another 3 drivers leaving the pit lane as we speak. I believe that'll be ISRL Chris, Chris Nazario and ISRL Richie all on out laps now. So KTM Sweden will be the first to set a lap out here. It's a very tricky track and it doesn't offer many brakes as a driver. It's very flowing corner after corner with lots of elevation change, and the very tricky turn 6 at the top of the hill, which is nearly flat, is a very tricky corner this year with the curb at the top. But we'll watch KTM Sweden start his lap now as he crosses the line. Lorenzo will come across Lorenzo at some point. As he gets nicely onto the apex there at turn 2. Nice into turn 3. Now this is the critical corner. Up here at turn 4 and 5. Keeps it well within track limits, so this is looking tidy. He gets the apex really well for that chicane right there, carrying a lot of speed, and this middle sector looks fairly strong as well. Nothing too obvious as mistakes wise. Not using all of the track there, he's keeping it well within track limits in order not to get invalidated, but it's a very tidy lap from KTM Sweden, and this will put him top of the board just for a short period of time as we wait for ISRL Chris to set a lap. But KTM Sweden has set a 1:14.8, so that's quite respectable out there. As he's coming across a bit of traffic coming out of the pit lane, so we'll go back to ISRL Chris right now and see how his lap's doing. We didn't get a split there, so we'll have to see how Chris does when he crosses the line. Nice and tidy through the penultimate corner. Out all of the track. Carries as much speed as he can. Misses the apex there, but he carried a lot more speed than KTM Sweden looked to have. D-rates, and he goes second with a 1:15.9, so almost just over 1.1 seconds off the pace there for Chris. That's not what he would want to be seeing this season, as he was very competitive last. Chris Nazario goes second on a 1:15.8, and I do believe there is one more driver on his way around, which will be Lorenzo, who went purple in the second sector. So Lorenzo could be taking pole right now off KTM Sweden, who has done a lot of practice. I practiced with him myself, he's a very good driver. Lorenzo does go fastest with a 1:14.4. So 4 attempts clear, that's quite a nice lap for him. Bumblebee will be next across the line, I think. Aiden? I invalidated, or he's just starting a lap, so yeah, it'll be ISRL Bumblebee with the next lap. Chris Nigario just did a 1:15.8 there and slipped into third to knock Chris down a little bit. So there's definitely a pace difference. Oh, the Haas is hit him, he's running wide, oh no! That's really compromised Bumblebee and definitely not what the Haas driver would want there. In the last corner, all on the apex, and then he got oversteer and ran wide. Oh, and there's more contact on the straight. Bumblebee just took out Chris. Oh my god. Bumblebee and Chris have had a second collision on the pit straight. This is terrible. He's now in the way of the McLaren. ISRL Freefall having to avoid the carnage that has happened here at the Hungarian Grand Prix on the qualifying pit straight. As Red Bull, he almost gets in the way of Lorenzo or Craigo there. As the Alpine comes out of the last corner. Asian P3, but that will definitely have to go to the... Both drivers with bad conduct there in the pre-season event and not how we would want to start this season. Craigo with a 1:16.3, that puts him well off the pace. 5 tenths behind Chris, so at the minute I think it's between Asian and KTM Sweden for the fastest lap. As we've got ISRL Freefall on a lap, carrying good speed there. Let's just ride on board and see how he hooks this up. A little shift down, he lost a little bit of speed there, and he's carrying a lot of speed here onto the apex. He misses it slightly, that will compromise him a little bit, but the times haven't been mega strong here, so he crosses the line. That's a 1:16.1, that puts him P6, bang in the middle of the pack for today. That's a good attempt, as the 150s and the 116s are looking standard for Division 3 this year, as the 114s look like they could be the stronger of the two drivers in this league going forward. But we have got Richie on a lap now, in the Ferrari, going fastest. He is a reigning ISRL champion, and has lots of experience in league racing right now. He comes through the last corner, and carrying a lot of speed there. So he's last season's champion, as I was saying. He won it quite convincingly in the Ferrari, but he's gone with it again, supporting the Italian flag on his helmet. Hoping to do it again with Ferrari. He carries a lot of speed out of the last corner. And that's only third, a 1:15.403 for F1 Richie here at the Hungaroring, and everything's settled down a little bit now. There's only a few cars on track. ISRL Freefall returns to the pit lane. Bumblebee has retired, so it's KTM Sweden that will be out on a lap now, round at the other side of the track. He's not improved though, he's just 5 thousandths down on himself. So as long as he can keep it tidy and maybe get better traction through one of these two corners, that is definitely findable. But a little bit of a wiggle on the way into there. I don't know if that was suggesting he abandoned the lap, but he didn't improve. He's a second down on a 1:15.9 there. So KTM Sweden, there's nothing really doing there. Vexter starting a lap, but he spun there. That was a little bit unlucky. These curbs are really quite tricky this year. And he's just finding that out now. As F1 Richie will be returning to the pit lane, I assume. Yeah, he holds right and peels off into the pit lane. So it'll be Vexter starting a lap, but oh, he's spun around again. He's having some real difficulties in that Alfa Romeo and keeping it in a straight line. So definitely not got the ideal setup for this weekend, but with only 10 drivers, every lap will be a learning curve for them, and they'll all be gaining confidence and experience going into next week's round, where I think the season starts with round 1. But let's see what Vexter sets on this lap as he's going around the last few corners, fighting the steering wheel a little bit there, but it looks tidy enough. He gets a nice lot of curve into there. Coming up the hill, he's purple into sector 1. So he's not done too bad there. He's done a good sector 1, so as long as you can keep it in a straight line through the final 2 sectors, then he should be on par to set a decent lap time. As he rides the 3rd gear there, right to the red line on the exit there. Really trying to get the most as he can out of the car. He did run wide there, but he didn't gain an advantage, so he hasn't invalidated his lap time as Prix starts the lap now crossing the line. So let's see what Vector can do coming into the last corner now. So Vector does improve from 10th only by 1 with a 1:17.4, but just behind him is Lorenzo on an outlap. So let's find the next person on a proper lap. I think that'll be Craigo, but that's been abandoned. He's gone off the road, so not the best lap. So he'll be fuel saving now and trying to keep the ERS together to go again for another lap. So Vector is the only person out trying right now, so we'll stay on board with him for now. To the fan that commented a lot of K's in the chat, thank you. Really helping the stream out today and showing us some love, so gotta love our major extreme fans out there, proper loving life. Will return to the pit lane. No, he continues round, so he believes he can still improve on this 2nd lap. There's some actual drivers on laps now as Craigo's pushing. But I think the next person across the line will be Lorenzo. He's the furthest round, but I think he's abandoned this lap as he's not using full throttle right there. So the next driver behind him will be Adrian, who is pushing now, using full throttle, and all of the ERS to carry as much speed as he can into this very tricky and demanding corner. He doesn't invalidate there, he does go purple, so Aiden could be within a shout of pole position right now. Aiden out of the last corner, let's see where he can go. He does improve by 6/10, but that's only good enough for 3rd on a 15.2. So Lorenzo still has pole position right now. We have CRL Freefall coming through the last corner carrying as much speed as possible. DRS wide open, he improves to P4 with a 1:15.250. Just behind Aiden, so very close. Them two could be battling for the last of the podium spots today. Vector goes round for another lap again. As Lorenzo trying his hardest right now to see if he can improve on that pole lap time. With 4 drivers retiring now, some people happy, some people involved in a bit of qualifying madness, should we say. As Lorenzo uses all of the roads there, still a 10th down as well. So Lorenzo's definitely been practicing here and he knows what bits of track limits he can exploit. Running all the way out to the pit lane and he boxes, so not happy with that attempt and he'll have a chance to go just once more. As Freefall and Asian, I believe, return to the pit lane. Oh, Asian's hit the end of the pit wall, so that's not gone well for Asian. Bit of a late decision to pit, not realising he had enough time and he hit the pit wall, but luckily he's not been DNF'd by that, so the team can fit a new front wing to him and get him back out on track. As Freefall boxes as well. And I believe Vector has just had a collision coming out of the 3rd to last corner, and that has put him out. So it's a top 5 shootout now here in Hungary, with Lorenzo leading and Richie bringing up the rear. And it's not often we say that in this league, but Richie's bringing up the rear for the final time, and he'll be hoping to gain positions, but all of them are now refueling. KTM Sweden, as you can see, is just coming out of the garage on your screen right now. So KTM Sweden going for his last attempt at pole position right now. And he'll be hoping to find just over 5/10 of a second to take pole position off Lorenzo. He's in a really high gear, so trying to save as much fuel as he can, so I'm wondering if he's underfueled the car very slightly. As the other drivers come down with Asian leading, and then Lorenzo behind him, maybe hoping for a bit of a slipstream, but that won't help you somewhere at Hungary. CRL Freefall is the last, so Richard is the last driver to leave the pit lane in this train, and all 5 cars are on the track, all pushing for pole position, all hoping to get the season off to the very best start you can. KTM Sweden is the closest to the line and half a lap ahead of everyone else. She'll be hoping not to get traffic in this last flying lap he's got, carrying as much speed as he can to this last corner, trying to get the best start to this lap. Opens the RS very early, keeps to the white line on the left. You want to be as close to the left as you can while braking into turn 1. Nicely onto the apex, but he gets a little bit of a turbo lag in the middle, and then he gets wheel spin on the exit, so that's not the best start to the lap, but it's not all over, as he runs all the curve he can through turn 3 up to turn 4, all over the curve on turn 4. He carries a lot of speed in there, so Lorenzo is looking very tidy. He just had a bit of a mistake at turn 1, so let's see if that will damage him going through sector 2 and how much he can improve on his lap time in this second sector. He's getting the apex really quite nicely there. No big mistakes bar turn 1, so this is looking competitive. He's purple by a 10th.5, but that won't be enough. He needs to now find another 2 or 3 tenths in this last sector. He will improve though. So KTM Sweden looking for every bit of time on this last sector on this track, looking for pole position as much as he can. Out of the last corner, carrying as much speed. He doesn't improve by very much. He does get closer, but it's not enough. It's only 2 tenths, and he will stay second with no chance to improve. Asian is the next one to cross the line now. We haven't got to see Asian split currently, but he is on a lap and he is coming up to the last corner. He runs as much as the speed as he can, runs it wide. DRS open wide. He does improve to a 15 dead, but it's not enough. Lorenzo's the next driver past him. He doesn't improve, 44 thousandths down. So the next driver is CRL Freefall on a lap. Wide on the power, late brake, he lifts, he lets it roll through the corner, back on the power as early as he can, he runs as wide as he can. He does improve, he takes Asian off top spot by just 2 thousandths of a second, and F1 Richie Pitts, he's keen enough, and P5 is the best he can do today. So Lorenzo is on pole with a 14.4 from KTM Sweden, and the Mercedes with a 14.6. And then CRL Freefall, the best of the midfield if you'd like to call it in this 5-driver shootout, were 15.0. ISRL Aiden on a 15.0 also, just 2 thousandths back from Freefall in 4th in the Alpes. And very unusually, is ISRL F1 Richard with a 15.4 at the back in the Ferrari. So very unusual scenes here at Hungary. As the last of the drivers cross the line and we wait for, I think it's KTM Sweden to be pushed fully back into the garage and reset for the session to end and continue. So we'll just stick with Aiden in that beautiful Alpine car in the sun, shining its way through. So Lorenzo leads from KTM Sweden, from CRL Freefall, ISRL Asian, ISRL Richie, Chris Nazario, ISRL Chris, Vector, Craigo, and ISRL Bumblebee. I do believe Chris Nazario and Bumblebee will be off to see the stewards after this pre-season event for the qualifying shambles that happened in the last corner. So we've got a wet race here in Hungary for the first round. It's one red light here to start the formation lap. So Lorenzo leads, they're all running intermediates. It's very damp and very tricky out here. Vector and Craigo have already managed to be disqualified from the formation lap. So they'll have very cool tyres on this restart. So it is going to be a rather crazy race in the wet weather. We'll see how many finishes we get, as these drivers are still learning the game. We've not been live very long. So all the drivers are on the way around now. It's quite a spread out field from Lorenzo backwards. He's run quite a big, quite fast formation lap out here, and he's got a bit of a gap back to KTM Sweden, but after that they're quite tightly packed. So we've got 10 drivers taking this grid. So we have 5 red lights. I'm trying to get a bit. Oh, there is a jump start from someone at the back there. That's Vector. As we go forward, Richie has taken the lead from. Oh, the leaderboards have broken a little bit right now. Let's try and find the leader in the mess of all this. Lorenzo leads from KTM Sweden that I can see, and then the 2 McLarens behind. Everyone has made it through and everyone is safely through the first corner. So Lorenzo leads with a nice gap back to KTM Sweden. Freefall, Richie and Asia. ISRL Chris and Chris Nazario are 6th and 7th fighting. Craigo and Bumblebee are at the back with Vector there in 10th. there's not a really lot going on right now. It's just Aiden now pushing Chris and F1 Richie. There has been a spin at the back, that's Vector there. He's had a spin and a crash in the same place as qualifying, so that corner hasn't treated him well, and he will have a knock of confidence now. But, oh, there is a virtual safety car. So all the drivers will be held in place, no time will be gained, but everyone has missed the pit lane. Not that it would have been beneficial to pit at this stage anyway, but all the drivers are now locked in position and can't overtake. So F1 Richie is behind Freefall, who's gained 2 places. Aiden lost a place off the start there. ISRL Chris has gained a place as well. But we're back to racing now at full speed. It's quite spread out here. It's Aiden trying to put the pressure on Richie, who's trying to put the pressure on Freefall and KTM Sweden. KTM Sweden look like he's the most comfortable out of the top runners right now, with Freefall just pushing him and on a small gap to Richie, so they're just trying to pull a gap out from each other now and get out of DRS zone, but Freefall looking really feisty right now. Let's ride on board. Will he have a little go into here? No. He thinks better of it. But lining up KTM Sweden, who's looking twitchy on the rear end. Who saw this coming? As in, who saw the weather coming? Does Freefall have a wet weather setup, and does that explain his pace lost in the qualifying session? KTM Sweden, a little bit tricky off the curb. Chris Nazario is spun at the back, but I believe he's too far back now to be having a go. KTM Sweden, nothing doing. We'll just go a little bit further back. Aiden, nothing doing. This track is notoriously hard to overtake on, so I don't expect to see a lot of overtakes, as Lorenzo now pulls 2.7 clear at the front, not waiting about and really pulling off into the distance right now, and showing what Division 3 has to look forward to dealing with Lorenzo in Division 3. As F1 Richie has gone purple, so he's managed to find a little bit of pace and get Aiden off his back, and now start to push on Freefall, who's just behind KTM Sweden. As you can see the rain being flicked up onto the camera, and ISRL Chris just having a bit of a moment there over the chicane. He lost a little bit of time, and it's now put Craigo on his back here. So this is the closest battle on track. Oh, Aiden spins at the back right there. He's had a spin right at the back, and he has now fallen all the way to second to last at 8th, and 6 seconds off the back of the pack. Not what Aiden would have liked, but we have got quite a close race here. Bumblebee putting pressure on Craigo, as Richie's also putting pressure on Freefall. Let's see this. Is half a second going to be close enough? Is he going to have a look? He doesn't. He gets close but not close enough. See if he can do anything down this straight. He definitely has more pace at this point, but the McLaren's nothing doing. So Bumblebee has managed to pass Craigo now. They're still fighting on track. Oh, there's a little bit of contact there on the inside, but I don't know if Craigo really should have put his nose in there anyway, but no damage to either of them, and Bumblebee carries on now, chasing Chris up the road. These two were past teammates last year, and we've seen quite the action from them. If I don't say so myself, it was very entertaining and a lot of entertaining fights. So let's see what's different this year, both in different teams, different paint, and not fighting for the constructors. Bumblebee has got really quite close to Chris really quickly. He's gained about a second this lap, and oh! Bumblebee's had a little slide on that curve. He's lucky to keep it out of the wall, but is that KTM Sweden going backwards? He's made a mistake, he's off the road. He's down to 7th now, with no warning. He's fallen from 2nd all the way down to 7th. And that gives Lorenzo another fastest lap and a 7-second gap up front. So he's pulling more than a second a lap right now from the leaders. As Bumblebee is trying to put pressure on Craigo. Bumblebee's putting pressure on Chris, and KTM's he's putting pressure on Craigo. Craigo looks quite comfortable down this straight right now. He's got nearly a 1 second gap to KTM Sweden, and you need to be within roughly half a second. As Chris Nazario has had another spin there and lost the front wing. A virtual safety car has been brought out while they retrieve the front wing and allow the Haas to crawl back to the pit lane for a new one. Chris Nazario has had a bit of a poor weekend this weekend, but he'll be hoping for an improvement next weekend. This is only pre-season, no points are awarded for this. This is just learning the game and who you're driving with. So Chris is struggling for downforce, as you can see, nearly straight lines. Turn 4-5 at the top of the hill. As Lorenzo is now a good 8.5 seconds, 9 seconds clear at the lead. So really got out of the gate quick and built a lead. So let's see if he can just keep it all together and on the road. He doesn't need to push too much right now. As you can see, he's got 100% ERS, so he's not really running ERS too much. And not really pushing so hard. He's very quick this year, Lorenzo, and that's been shown very evidently in the first 6 laps here at the ISRL Division 3 pre-season. Richie still puts pressure on on TRL freefalls. ISRL Richie is within a second now. So this is now your battle for second and third, as Chris and Bumblebee battle for fourth and fifth. Safety car in. Richie got a bit of a better restart within 4/10 now, so freefall really can't make any mistakes, so Richie will be fast. Richie, a former ISRL World Champion, who knows how to lead and win races and come from the back. He's never really been the strongest qualifier, but in race pace he is very, very good. As Lorenzo is a big loser under that safety car, losing just over a second to freefall under the VSC. As you see, Chris and Bumblebee pressuring each other really, really hard in this second sector now. And in these conditions, it's so easy to make a mistake. Chris taking it nice and easy, staying away from them slippy curves. As I say that, he touches one, gets a bit of a poor exit. This gives Bumblebee the run. Down the inside, he locks up. He gets it stopped though on the apex, but nothing doing there. Chris well defended down the outside. He just kept the speed high enough that Bumblebee couldn't get the level. As you see, KTM Sweden just behind, fighting wheel to wheel with Craigo. Almost contact, within millimetres of each other. Will KTM Sweden get the move on Craigo using ERS all the way down the back straight? He pulls out, but nothing quite doing there either to KTM Sweden or Bumblebee. These two drivers are now stuck behind 2 Honda Red Bull powered cars. This isn't what they would have hoped for in this opening of pre-season. Oh, almost contact, but some brilliant racing by Bumblebee. He knows just where the front wing of that Mercedes is. He's pushing ISRL Chris now right to the very limit, pushing him within half a second. He's got a nose on the inside. Chris can't turn in there. Now round the outside. Chris runs it wide though. Very smart driving by Chris. His defensive work this year has really shown, and that was really good defence. Like, he should not have defended that really, with Bumblebee having the inside right there. Bumblebee closing up again to the back end of Chris, but nothing really doing. This track is notoriously hard to overtake on. As Lorenzo sets another fastest lap. It seems like a broken record right now, but he's just going faster and faster every lap, and he's got that gap up to now 10.1 seconds. Bumblebee with poor traction right there. not really got anything going. So we go back to KTM Sweden, who has managed to pass Prego now. We did miss that one on track, but he's now putting pressure on Bumblebee. Will Bumblebee let him pass as the faster driver, or will they fight it? It's only pre-season, so there is no point. So the two Mercedes drivers have kind of levelled themselves out on the Delta gap sheet. I say that KTM Sweden gained a lot of time, and Bumblebee might be just trying to defend this or just trying to force up to Chris, but Chris is very quick in a straight line, meaning it's hard to overtake him around this tight and technical track, which is also classed as the Monaco without the wall. So that shows you how hard it can be to overtake at this track. And Lorenzo has set another fastest lap at 1:28.349. So the gap goes up again to 12, 1.8 seconds a lap out on the leader now. Bumblebee allows KTM Sweden pass. So let's see if KTM Sweden now can get past Chris. This is definitely a team race, and Bumblebee's a team player when you get to know him. He's a very friendly driver as well. Definitely a gentleman of the league, like F1 Richie. As well as Chris being part of that group as well, one of the gentleman racers. Sweden's not really made too much of an inroads on Chris this lap, but he is gaining little bits of time here and there. He's knocking it down by a tenth here and there. There's Bumblebee all over the road there and onto the runoff area. Just finding it a little bit slicky out there up at the top of the hill. As now KTM Sweden sets about taking some more time out of Chris, down to 0.7. He is gaining and should be with him in the next lap or two. He's now down within just under 0.6, 0.5. So KTM Sweden is now within under half a second of ISRL Chris. Will he have enough speed and power to get the job done on ISRL Chris? Oh, there's a virtual safety car. Chris Lazario has had another problem at the top of the hill. He now does not have a front wing again, and that is not a sight we want to see for Chris this race. Struggling a lot on the slippy curves and the difficult conditions, but let's go back to Lorenzo. He's not had much love this race, but he has been sitting a very nice gap of about 15 seconds and set a lot of fastest laps out there today. So really feeling the slimy, slightly sludgy track, if you like. It's a bit puddled in places. Prego, oh no, he picked up a drive-through penalty for speeding. Not what he would have wanted on a day like today. But the VSC is now back in, allowing KTM Sweden to gain more time on Chris as we go back to the only battle on track between these 10 drivers, or 9 drivers now. Vector had his first lap accident. So, it's now the Mercedes boys as Chris has pitted with Aidan and Chris Lazario, all to get new body parts. Chris is now out again, I believe. As Craig has retired, he has seen enough of that drive-through penalty and no longer wants to continue. So that leaves us with 8 drivers now when Chris Lazario manages to get round and claim his lap back off him. So KTM Sweden now has to set about chasing down 3-4 marks as Richie has passed him on track somewhere and started to pull away. He has levelled the gap with Lorenzo, so are we going to see a classic F1 Richie comeback right now, where the race pace is so much stronger than the qualifying pace? Richie just 13.8 seconds away from the leader, half a pit stop. It's not all over if we can stretch them intermediate tyres the full race, as there's a driver stopped on track in the first sector. That's Prix who retired, we know about that. Hopefully that car is cleared before Lorenzo gets there, who's pitting. Lorenzo pits from the lead. F1 Richie also pits from second place. 3-4 pit and Bumbleboy pits. So KTM stays out an extra lap in order to not double step his teammate. Very clever thinking from the two Mercedes drivers. And it turns out that KTM Sweden had that bigger gap. He manages to pit from the lead and come back out in the lead. So he's now onto the medium tyres. Let's see how these treating in this tricky, very wet circuit right now. I can see a lot of standing water still, so he will be very careful not to spin or crash in this session, as it would be rather easy to have an accident under wet conditions on dry track tyres. All these drivers are taking a risk. Oh, and that's a risk too far for Chris Nazario. We just seen that one on camera. He's just up here at the top of the hill. F1 Richie will be the next car to pass him, as he's done and just hit that inside wall just there, and that will be Chris's day over and done for the wet weather, and he'll be happy to see the end of the Hungarian track, I think. That's not been a good weekend, and he'll hope to bounce back stronger next week. As KTM Sweden yet to pit, 3.1 seconds off our leader, but he still needs to pit, so that should drop him back down to roughly where Bumblebee is, but we have a safety car, so that will bunch the full field up. Just what we needed in this race to stop Lorenzo running away with an easy win. Oh no! KTM Sweden hits the wall on pit entry. Not what he would have needed in today's race. So under the safety car, KTM Sweden hasn't lost all of his places, I don't believe. He may have. Bumblebee just got him. So KTM Sweden does fall back down to last, but he's taken a set of soft tyres right now. So he will have the most grip in these conditions right at the back behind Bumblebee. As you see, Lorenzo behind the nice red Mercedes safety car, the first time we've seen it this season in Division 3, and quite late into the race if I don't say so myself. With 13 laps completed, we've had no incidents up until lap 13 when Chris had the accident that had required a safety car, so this is the first one of the season, and Lorenzo will bring up the field. ISRL Esports just needs to catch the pack, but he's only 4 seconds away, so that won't take very long at all. We'll have one more lap and then we should be back to racing under the safety car. So I'm going to take this safety car just to take a small break to go and get a drink. seems like I've come back just in time to catch the restart of this race. Lorenzo, nice and slowly, trying the Bottas manoeuvre up to the line. But now he is gone. F1 Richard, a little bit off guard, allowing the drivers behind to get a little bit of a run on each other. But nothing doing. The track has now completely dried in that short break. So let's see if F1 Richie can do anything about the dominant Lorenzo. So far he has looked untouched and unfabled in this lead. And it looks set to continue in Division 3. As he goes fastest in Sector 1. All the drivers behind are fighting. So it's CRL free fall from ISRL Chris, from ISRL Agent, from KTM Sweden, from Bumblebee. KTM Sweden has been allowed past Bumblebee on the faster tyres. The faster tyres of KTM Sweden are now all over Aizen. Can he withdraw the pressure of that Mercedes? Just like we seen last week from Fernando Alonso. Aizen, good run out of the last corner. Lorenzo sets another fastest lap. I am slightly getting bored of saying that, but he is going and doing this every lap. So KTM Sweden has been defended by the Alpine like we seen on Sunday from Fernando Alonso. But he is a lot closer this time. Will he try around the outside with the faster tyres? He has a small look, but nothing doing. Asian has managed to defend KTM Sweden for one lap on these soft tyres so far. He has done a really good job right there. And that's exactly what we want to see from our drivers in ISRL. Is KTM Sweden pushing Asian again? Oh, almost contact, but just on the brakes in time. Really close. Oh, Bumblebee almost into the back of these teammates. So 3 drivers that you could throw a blanket over if you like. All pushing each other to the very max here at the Hungaroring. As it spreads out up at the front with a second and a half between the top 3. But just behind him, Aizen under all sorts of pressure from the Mercedes duo. He comes into the second last corner. KTM Sweden carrying more speed again on the way in. But it's on the way out, he needs this speed. Is Chris just keeping free fall in this with a little bit of DRS to each of them? DRS is now enabled. KTM Sweden having another look. Nothing doing though. Aizen is becoming the Fernando Alonso of ISRL right now. Defending Aizen as hard as he can. He tries round the outside, but KTM Sweden makes it look easy. Aizen hasn't given it up. Aizen's still trying on the way up the hill, but it's all done for KTM Sweden and he is ahead. Aizen tried his hardest and I commend that. That was a very, very diligent effort at trying to defend. But nothing doing, he just did not have the pace in the Alpine this week. And he'll turn his attention to Bumblebee as KTM Sweden runs up the road to now pressure ISRL Prix. Way faster on them new soft tyres, but how long will they last? He will have to pit again. He won't get to lap 35 and then I can almost guarantee you as a commentator, I have raced this track and soft tyres won't do that many laps. Not even if you pick the car up and carry it. So he will be pitting again. However, that's another fastest lap for Lorenzo. KTM Sweden opens DRS, runs DRS all the way down to turn 1. He pulls out, but nothing doing. Chris got enough DRS from free fall right there. But he was very close on the exit. Does Chris defend the inside? He does initially, but moves back. KTM Sweden falls in line behind Chris. They all look to have similar straight line speed, so they are struggling to overtake each other right now. Sweden putting pressure. Is he going to try around the outside? Just defended by Chris as he moves over on that front wing of the Mercedes to say, no, you can't come down that side. Again into the chicane. KTM Sweden's desperate. He's got it down the inside though. A little bit of barging. Does he keep it? He does, right round the outside of Chris. What an amazing move. Asian now having a look at Chris. Asian down the inside into the fastest corner on the track. Asian has made it stick down the inside, but there looked like there was contact. There was. Asian backwards. That is not what he would have wanted. His race is now almost over, falling 5 or 6 seconds off the back. Lorenzo creates another fastest lap as KTM Sweden sets about going after free fall now. Chris and Bumblebee spread themselves out with 2 seconds in between them, and Asian all the way back, 6.5 seconds at the back. Asian has spun again in the last corner, so he looks like he's overheated them rear tyres and definitely not having a good time right now on there. KTM is P4. I'm going fastest, but that was a bit of a track extend if I don't say so myself. Coming up to the chicane, this free fall defend this, or did you just let KTM Sweden run? Try and catch Lorenzo and get him back when he pits, because everyone else now can go to the end on these medium tyres. KTM Sweden down the inside, it looks relatively easy for him. It was, as free fall didn't put too much of a fight up there. So free fall has let KTM Sweden pass, and Lorenzo sets another fastest lap. That's right, he's really not holding back his horses, and even KTM Sweden on a set of soft tyres cannot equal that fastest lap. That shows you how fast Lorenzo is going. And after the safety car, he's built a big gap up of 5.2 seconds. He is almost completely out of sight for F1 Richard. Not something we say very often, but he is second in this race, being caught by KTM Sweden. So you can just see in the background right there, being chased by free fall ISRL Prix and Bumblebee. This race has not got many drivers and he's a little bit spread out, so I am struggling a little bit here, but just bear with me. We will see out this ISRL pre-season, whether it's with 7 drivers or just the one. We will make it work, as KTM Sweden has taken a second out of F1 Richard. So I expect within the next lap or two, KTM Sweden will be on the back of that Ferrari, hounding him. Every lap, KTM Sweden has been set to make a really big comeback right now. He was last at one point, and now he's back up to third and catching the second place man. KTM Sweden taking the last 2 tenths out of F1 Richard. He is gaining, you can see it visually now. You can see F1 Richard. So within another few laps I expect KTM Sweden to either be pitting or overtaking Richard. So there isn't a lot that I can do to make this race more interesting, but Bumblebee is on with Chris right now. Bumblebee has decided he's going to race with Chris. Chris with a little bit of time, so late move, contact there, and that might have been a little bit of damage. I can't quite tell, but there was definitely contact with the back end of that Alpha Tauri, should I say. He gets a good run out of the last corner. These two have had history. They was past teammates. They fought all last season tooth and nail. So let's see what more these guys can offer us. Bumblebee down the inside, taking it very conservatively, but Chris leaves him no room. Chris really showing that if you want to pass me as an ex-teammate, I'll make you work very, very hard for it. And this is just what I want to be seeing when there's not a lot of action. 2 drivers really, really fighting as hard as they can. as KTM Sweden has managed to pit and come out ahead of Asian. So KTM Sweden only has 5 drivers between him and the win, but he is 13.5 seconds back. Let's see how much of that time he can make back. As we still ride with Bumblebee within 0.3 seconds of Chris. There isn't a lot you can do in this second sector, but it's all down to DRS down the pit straight. Bumblebee only has 14%, but so does Chris. The batteries are level. Chris picks up a 2-second penalty, so Bumblebee doesn't have to pass him, but will want to get it done on track, because he is the sort of gentlemanly racer that will like to do the move on track, and not really talking track. He's quite a quiet soul. So let's see how this goes down. He gets the RS, not really using the RS, he makes a bit of a dive to the inside, but not so much of a serious attempt, just to say, I'm still here mate, I'm still with you. And again another little bit of a look, but he's just making Chris maybe defend or going to a place of the track he doesn't really want to be, and that forces the mistake to give him the run. So Chris trying hard again to pull away from Bumblebee, but Bumblebee just staying with him right now. So I wonder if any of these drivers will think of pitting off the medium for a late stint on the softs to try and gain back that time. So now we actually have a good chance at Bumblebee. He moves wide, Chris pushes him, he's on the grass, but that does not faze Bumblebee. They try to push each other wide. Chris doesn't quite have the force to do it, and Bumblebee is past. So ISRL Chris with a penalty, not wanting Bumblebee to pass, but it has happened now. So let's see if Bumblebee pulls away. As KTM Sweden did take the fastest lap off Lorenzo, as changing the fastest lap wall between Lorenzo and KTM Sweden, bar KTM Sweden's tyres being a lot more new. So if we go back to tyres, you can see there is 1 lap old tyres for KTM, where Lorenzo has been on them 11 laps. I am going to have to jump off on to do a race right now, so I will have to leave you in the confident hands of Lorenzo, as Chris has retired. He has seen enough today, and that is only 6 drivers finishing with a virtual safety car for the 3rd time. Lorenzo leads by 12 seconds from ISRL Richard, from CRL Freefall, from ISRL Bumblebee, from KTM Sweden, from ISRL Asian. I have been Calm Koala. Thank you for watching my stream and putting up with some of the immature people out there. And join back next week for round 1 of the ISRL season in Division 3. It will be chocker. You won't want to miss it. We'll have 20 drivers on the grid fighting for the coveted championship. Thank you for viewing. Please come back and view again.